new event, so we might have to post a new link. Now we are live, um, and I am going to have to link everybody to it.
If you
Uh,
send me the link, I can do the Facebook. I mean the Twitter and all that real quick.
yeah, I will have it posted very soon here. Uh, this is really dumb. So yeah, technical difficulties, still kind of dealing with them. Not really sure this hasn't happened to me before. I swear this never happened.
It says we're live in the top corner on my phone.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
we're
know if
live now, but I had to create a new event, so
Oh,
anybody watching the previous video is not getting this. So,
yeah. Hey, let me know when you got that link sent over, and I'll start popping around.
oh, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna take me a sec here. Uh,
Okay.
you know, I'm not fast enough,
Hey, man, it's cool.
and this thing is being super slow. Because it couldn't just work well.
Yeah.
Um, that's how it always goes, unfortunately. Yeah. Yes, I do want to copy this. So good times.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it on that. I'm not having any good times today.
Okay, so I just posted it in the live chat. Not sure if you can
I can't
find.
access the live chat.
Well, you know what? All right,
If you can just send it to my Facebook Messenger thing.
you just got to make it so complicated.
I do.
We'll see if anybody hops over to the new one. There, I sent it to your massager.
Massager.
Yeah, I massaged you.
I like massagers.
One time, I was actually talking about this earlier today. One time, I went and because I have an amazing wife, she took me to get an hour-long massage. But because I'm stupid, I decided that I would get it right before I had to go to work, and my job was working at a telemarketing place.
Yeah.
So within like 20 minutes of getting to work, I was all the way tensed back up again and completely wasted the awesome massage my wife got me. So, I mean, the experience was amazing. It just uh, didn't last very long.
Mm.
So you're super talkative.
Sorry. I'm trying to get this to copy. It will not let me copy it for some reason.
Well, we're live right now, so you kind of need to get the fuck on it.
I'm trying.
Try harder.
Okay. So cool. Let me type this up in our Twitter real quick.
Oh my God, you take forever.
Well, sorry, I'm on a phone.
I'm blaming this all on you. This is all your fault, the whole thing. So what's going on with our watchers? Sean was almost about to commit a crime because we were having problems, but luckily we were able to get it up. Jason has decided that this is the get happy ending edition. Uh, I'm not. I'm not. Josh might give you a happy ending, but I promise no happy endings. I promise only disappointing. Uh, you
What
know,
do you have against happy endings, man?
I mean, they're not brutal enough.
They're not. Oh,
They're not
oh,
metal enough, bro.
oh, crap.
What in the world is going on with my computer? So yeah, it's just like everything is a problem right now. So that's fun. That's a good time.
So, since I do everything on my phone, I'm in like some weird split screen now.
Oh, fun. I can see you again. I couldn't see you for a while there, so
So I have the Twitter up, and I have our live our you and I's chat up. So
You've
man,
got
if I
the
had known I
tour.
could, I don't know how to do that normally. It was an accident, so I wish I knew how to do that, so I could do that every week and just try to multitask. So, um, sorry, I haven't been talking to trying to get everything working on my end too. Technology is a pain in the ass, and my kids keep coming up. I'm by myself this week, and
Oh,
my kids keep coming up the entire time. Like, what are you doing, Dad? Like, I'm trying to podcast.
well,
So
how dare you?
I know how dare Dad do anything this week?
Yeah. What's happening? Oh my God. My wife's bringing me food.
Are you gonna eat hot wings like Tor always wanted?
Thank you. My wife totally just brought me food. It's not hot wings though. I can't eat chicken, so I can't do hot wings.
Can't do chicken on the diet.
No, I just can't eat chicken in general. I could eat chicken on the diet. My wife eats chicken on this
You like
diet.
chicken?
No, I just can't eat it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So, um, so Travis is wondering if we think Ray and Rampage are actually going to fight in issue 12. Um, I don't know, man. I mean, a lot is going to have to
let's
happen.
save that conversation until we do our review of the book.
Okay, well, what do we have to talk about before we get to the review of the book?
We can talk about the quantum and Woody news, which
Oh,
I
well,
almost
yeah.
called quantum and nudie. I don't know why, but
Um, so I mean, it's not a lot of news. We had heard a while back that the Russo brothers were going to work on producing a Quantum and Woody TV show, and now a network has picked it up apparently for a pilot. TBS, am I remembering that correctly?
that is correct. Yes, and from things that I had read in various places, it sounds like stuff's going to get finalized pretty quick on it. I don't know how true that is, but it's pretty exciting. You know, like the one thing that hit me the most out of it, not even really like pertinent to the news itself, was just that it seems like all of a sudden now we're getting a lot of like concrete Valiant stuff heading to TV or film because Bloodshot's going to happen. Faith's got a script getting written. If Bloodshot goes good, we get Harbinger. Kwame Woody's picked up by TBS. Like, it's really crazy to think that, like, just like 6 months ago, we were all just like, please make Bloodshot. Please just do that. Like, we'll be happy. And now it's like, all of a sudden, like, media is just like picking up all sorts of things where it's like, yeah, like, Bloodshot is going to happen. And Harbinger might happen. And Kwame Woody at TBS. Not only that, but like, Kwame Woody by like the Russos, who are just like killing it over at Marvel. I mean, they made Infinity War and Winter Soldier and Civil War and all that stuff, and those are all like quality movies. So this isn't like a guy that I've never heard of making the Bloodshot movie. This is like people who make billion-dollar movies now, and they're going to take on Kwame and Woody from the Earth's mightiest heroes to the worst heroes. Like it's rad.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Uh, Jason ran with your Quantum and Nudie happy endings only on TBS.
Hell yeah, hell yes.
That was perfect, Jason. So yeah, um, this is what DMG promised us, right? And I would feel like we were getting, like, I would be really disappointed if this wasn't happening. So now the big question is going to be moving forward when we start seeing the DMG led comic series, which is, as far as I can tell, the whole Valiant Beyond is essentially DMG's new slate of comics. I think that's part of why Britannia wasn't included in that, and Life and Death of Toyo Harada wasn't included in that because those were set up by the previous administration, so to speak.
Yeah,
Whereas Faith Dreamside and Bloodshot Rising Spirit and Incursion and Jesus Christ, which is the one I'm forgetting? Livewire. How could I fucking forget Livewire? Um, those all seem like the ones that the new DMG staff have been pushing. So we're going to kind of see those start taking over the line, the comic line, and so hopefully those are quality. And if those are high quality books with, new creators and new ideas and new editors, and we also get TV and movie news and actual projects coming to fruition on top of quality comics, then I have to say that you would have to call the DMG takeover a net gain for us fans. We aren't there yet. We can't specifically say that quite yet, but it's looking like that may come to pass the day when we call DMG taking over an overall good thing. I'm still not happy about losing Dinesh. Don't get me wrong. I'm never going to say that was a positive thing. But if the net value of everything that happened from them taking over, if it, because I would say still putting out quality comics plus putting out a Quantum Wave TV show and Bloodshot and Harbinger movies, that's enough good to outweigh the bad of getting rid of Dinesh. So again, never going to be happy about Dinesh being gone. However, there's other factors to consider.
That's hard, man, because like I think for so many of us, like we've met Dinesh, and he's like a thing that like kind of
Speak for
helps.
yourself, asshole. I wish I had met him.
Met him a few times, Eric. Okay, we've talked. We've
Fuck
chatted.
you. You don't have to rub it in, dick. God.
Oh, did I also mention that he's a producer on Bloodshot and I've talked to him? Anyway, so
Fuck
no,
you.
like a lot of these guys though that we know through Valiant, are no longer with the company. And I think a lot of times, like there's a lot of good memories to all that. And you look at the creators, they're starting to kind of revolve out of the building, we still got Kent. We probably don't have any more Lemire. Do we have Fred Van Lente again? We're gonna have Jody Hauser, and I think right now, is the test to see like what kind of quality of the books are we gonna get. I think the good thing is that these are all titles that are readable, and just without even reading a page, I would read Faith, I'd read Livewire, Bloodshot, Incursion sounds interesting. Um, it'll be interesting to see like what the new regime's talent pool is like. So, I mean, I have a lot of fond memories of like great books I've read. Venditt's XO, Josh Dice on Harbinger, Imperium. There's a shit ton of books that are just great. So I'm really curious to see like what the quality is going to be like. And keep in mind, for everybody who's like, oh, I don't know who some of these writers are, Valiant launched with like a bunch of like relative like nobodies. Dysart was a little bit of a name. Fred Van Lente was probably like the biggest name that like was writing books for them at the time.
Robert
You know,
Benditti had never written a monthly book before.
yeah, he had just done like some top shelf work, and and thinking about that, like Venditti did pretty damn good for himself. He's got a lot of stuff going. He's got a Vertigo book that they announced this week too, on top of his um, Damage book, on top of doing Hawkman. I mean, he's doing pretty well for himself. So this will be like an interesting time to see like where these books go, because I do think like if these books all kind of fall flat, I think that the community has a right to be like, what's the deal here? Like these books aren't very good. And then it's going to be more of the echoes of like, this is a claim all over again. What's going to happen with the company, things like that. But at the same time, though, we're way closer to getting TV stuff. A lot of stuff can change just off of that. Like if the TV shows work, if they're successful, if Bloodshot's a good movie, if we just get a springboard of more television properties and movie properties, it's going to be interesting to say like, is it a better deal then? Because ultimately, like, isn't the main goal just to get your stuff out and to make money, and to get a fan base and make a fan base happy? If like if you're getting more fans in and you're losing a little bit of fans, that's okay. I just to me, and I know that you feel the same way. I like the comics. I became a fan of these things because I like to read the comic book characters. So if a bad movie happens, it doesn't turn me off from wanting to read these comics. I'm still going to want to read them. But I'm hoping that as a fan, I get to have the best of both worlds, where I like the comics and I get to like the movies. I'm really hoping the movies are good, but the comics are what's important. But I'm hoping that with these changes, I know that you said that you started reading cable because of the guys who are taking over Bloodshot Rising Spirit, and you've liked them. You thought they were really cool.
Yeah, yeah, I do think that cable book has been good. I'm like an issue behind right now because I haven't read the most recent issue that came out. But what I read, I thought that they did a good job with. Um, it's the only complaint I would have with what they've done with Cable is it seems kind of episodic, whereas I would rather have it be more of a serial story. It's not that it doesn't connect from issue to issue because it does, but it still kind of feels like this issue is about this. This next issue is about this. And I would much rather have, a unifying arc. And maybe it will, kind of come together as more issues come out. I don't know. I'm just hoping that their Bloodshot run, they do more unified arcs. But what I was going to say, you were talking about how if even if the movies flop, but the comics are good, you know, since we came into this world, it's this comic universe as comic fans and fans of what they're doing comic wise, that's not really going to be that big of a deal. Like, yes, it would suck if the Bloodshot movie flops and we don't get any more Valiant movies for 5 years. Because of course I would love to see the Harbinger characters brought to life. I would love to see an EXO movie on the big screen. I just feel like getting Exo Manowar, Livewire, and Galad on the big screen, like those are characters that could do really, really well. So I really hope we get to that point. Um, but the flip side of that equation is if the movies do well, but the comics turn to shit, I'm actually going to be pretty upset, right?
Oh,
Like,
oh yeah.
that would, I can handle the movies being crap as long as the comics stay good. I would have a much harder time handling good movies if the comics, turn into derivative drivel, because I have a feeling that I worry. Here's my biggest concern about Bloodshot Rising Spirit. If it's just a let's do a prequel back before, while Bloodshot was becoming Bloodshot, because that's what the movie's going to be about, and it tries to, retcon things and change the character to be more like what they do in the movie, that will be very frustrating for me. I have to believe that they won't do that, but it's definitely, definitely a possibility.
One thing, and again, we this is kind of me jumping the gun a little bit. I have a huge fear of how Bloodshot might be set up prior to Rising Spirit because we don't know what's going to happen in Bloodshot 12. Okay. And I've got some concerns, which we'll get into in a minute. We don't know where Bloodshot's going to be once Harbinger Wars 2's wraps up either. So if we're just going to have, and here's my fear, is if we're not going to have a Bloodshot book set in the present time, where if Rising Spirit is just a story of like what got Bloodshot to be Bloodshot or like early missions or things like that, then what the hell's his status in the Valiant universe going forward then? Is he just a character who's just in limbo until they decide that they're going to do like a current book again? That's my fear because that's stupid. Like you can't have a character that prominent and then be like, well, we're just gonna take a break from the character and we're just gonna only tell stories set in the past. To me, that's like saying, hey, Exo Manowar, let's just tell only stories. Let's just relaunch the whole book. We're only gonna tell stories about him as a Visigoth fighting Rome. We're not gonna have anything to do with the armor. Like,
See, I don't necessarily agree because to me that would be the equivalent of the Britannia book. Yes,
but
there's
we
time
already
travel in the
have it.
Valiant there's time travel in the Valiant universe, and we have different methods of time travel. So, um, so to me, doing a Auric only as a Visigoth or Bloodshot only back when he was first activated and being controlled by PRS, that to me isn't really any different than doing a Britannia book, and I love Britannia, so I don't necessarily agree with what you're saying.
But I disagree with that notion because the thing is, all Britannia ever is the story of Antonius set in Rome. Whereas Exo Manowar and Bloodshot, they exist in the current day within the Valiant universe.
Okay, but
So
Antonius could exist in
if
the
we just
current
take them
day.
off the board, if we just take them off the board and we're like, okay, current whereabouts unknown for the next year, that wouldn't make any sense. You can't have these giant characters and just not do anything with them. They already do that with enough characters that are a big enough deal that they don't do anything with, like Galad. Like what the hell's Galad doing? Or Harada? I don't understand that. But I mean, I understand from the publishing standpoint that they only do so many books a month. I just don't think it's wise to always keep big prominent characters just not being relevant.
See, I get what you're saying. I just disagree. Um, you know, yes, it is, it is possible, we think of Bloodshot as existing in the present day. We think of Exo Manowar as existing in the present day. But we could just as easily think of Antonius as existing in the present day, but we're still fine with getting books coming out where he's stuck in the past. The mechanism exists to bring him into the present, but we don't, like rail against Valiant because they don't bring him into the present. So to me, it
Oh,
doesn't make any more sense to be upset about leaving, doing a Bloodshot book in the past.
but what would you do for what is the point of having Bloodshot even around if I mean he's not even around then? I just don't think if you're
Yeah.
going to launch a movie though that you can do that.
See, okay, here's the thing though. I don't want a Bloodshot present day book just for the sake of having a Bloodshot present day book. You know what I mean? Like I would just like I was okay with them not doing a Shadow Man book for a long time because they needed to wait until it was worth doing a Shadow Man book again. Would it have been awesome to have a Shadow Man book the whole time? Yeah, if they could tell good stories. But now that they finally have a writer that's really killing the character, it makes sense to do a Shadow Man book right now. And those years when we didn't have one, yes, it would have been nice to have it, but I'm glad we didn't just get shitty stories just for the sake of putting Shadow Man on the shelf.
We can agree to disagree on that.
No. no,
Yes.
no, that's fine. That's just where I'm at with it. I know, like in the live chat, they were talking about one of the issues being some negative feelings about the current EXO run, wishing that we would get Venditti back, and then also Sean was saying that he wants Rising Spirit to be a mini. So it sounds like he's kind of with you. He doesn't want to just have this long prequel. Um, what I said to him
But we
was,
don't exactly know what the format is going to be. It's been
we
talked
don't.
about in the past, so we don't know if it's going to be like a mixture of old and new. It just sounds like it's only going to be old.
It does.
But one thing I want to touch on with that is that I do think even though like I'm not a huge fan of Exo Manowar right now, I do think that Kent's still doing a good job. And there's a part of me that just wants to be like, stay Kent, just because like you're one of the last few things that we have that's been around like for a very long time with Valiant. Like, please stay. Because man, I mean, I feel like that guy could just be like, I want to go somewhere else, and someone else would be like, whatever you got, we'll put it out. By the way, he's also, for people who read Mind Management, he just launched a Kickstarter attached to that, and it seems like it's going to be very successful. And you can get a record to go along with the comic book, which I think is really neat. I'm not sure if I'm going to contribute to it just because it's kind of pricey, but for those who are interested in that kind of stuff, though, there is that.
So I know Jason is predicting that Bloodshot is just going to stay in the future. Um, I think that we can talk about that when we get into the Bloodshot Salvation 11 review, which is coming shortly.
Yeah.
Another thing is, like if Bloodshot does stay in the future and we end up getting a book of him traveling around in the world of 4002, then we could maybe see some of those awesome 4002 characters like War Mother, Rye, um, the future Geomancer, lots of different characters.
Yeah. That would be an interesting thing. That would be kind of odd though to me, but I mean that wouldn't be like I mean everything depends upon execution. So like even if I'm like, well, that's kind of a weird thing to do, but if they did it and those guys write it and it's good, I can't complain then because the ultimate goal of me spending money on comics is to be entertained by those comics, to enjoy what I'm reading and spending money on. So I can sit there and be like, well, these are things that I wouldn't necessarily want, but if the execution works, I don't know if I'd complain.
Yeah, and that's what it really comes down to for me as well. Like if if Rising Spirit is just a mini or if it's 12 issues or if it's a long-term ongoing, I'll be okay with it as long as it's good and it doesn't retcon anything. As soon as they start retconning things, I don't care if it's only a one shot, I'm going to be pissed, right? Like that's one of the things I like about Valiant is that they haven't done that. So that's
You
probably my.
know, I had read somewhere this week that the Bloodshot movie is someone, I don't know how accurate it was, but they're saying that the Bloodshot movie will have like a $60 million shooting budget.
Oh yeah,
And
Jesse Fresco was talking about that.
yeah, because he didn't get hired. And I was trying to think like, well, when would you put out a $60 million action movie? And I think that we're probably looking at next summer when that comes out. Like they're going to be in like production for about 100 days, roughly, give or take. So like if they start shooting in August, they'll probably wrap up in like October, November, and then from there, I would imagine that because summer sometimes can be a weird time for movies, or even the fall. That's probably when we're gonna get that movie next year. So like probably like end of summer or early in the fall. But I mean, no guarantees on that either. But I looked at a bunch of stuff about like shooting times and how long things go into post production and things like that. So hopefully it does good.
I'm hoping for like early summer release or late spring release.
I've brought this up before, but like my one thing about the movies is like I always feel like that first thing that Valiant does, it's got to be good. It's got to be really good, because I feel like there's a lot riding on it, because there's a planned universe of 5 movies. We might only get that one. It's not unheard of, for like people to have like these goals for movies and then like they don't work because like audiences didn't like it or a picture just crashes at the theater. So for me, even though I love the comics, man, but I want to have as much Valiant stuff as I can. I'm a greedy fan like that. I want as much of it I can take in. I'm hoping, man, that first movie's just got to be dynamite.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if Bloodshot bombs, then we don't get Harbinger. We might still get Kwame and Woody because it's on TBS, but I don't know, man. Sometimes that stuff just makes me so nervous, and I
No,
shouldn't even be about it.
I'm 100% with you. There's definitely reason to be nervous, but I don't know. We can only see, when it happens, and there's not speculating about it right now isn't going to get us too far.
Yeah,
Um, but okay. Should we get into Bloodshot Salvation 11?
let's get the Bloodshot, and then if you want, I also read The Adventures of Archer and Armstrong, and if you didn't read it, I can say something real quick about it, because I can give it a little mini review if you
What,
wish.
what do you have to say about it?
I thought it was pretty good. Like as far as like I if you read the whole thing as a total package, I think it comes off pretty good. I still kind of didn't dig La Fuente's art on the opening arc, but I thought Mike Norton, just his pages look great in it. I would give it like a 4 out of 5. You know, has a lot of it has one thing that's really cool about that deluxe edition too is it has Rafer's bootleg in it.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. So in the extra because the deluxe editions they have like 40 or so pages of extra content and they have that first bootleg that Rafer did in the extra content. Like they show all the pages of it, and I think they
Crazy.
show the cover for the second one, but they don't have it reprinted in there.
Crazy.
But
Um,
one thing I thought that's kind of a bummer about it, and this is like I probably bitch about this with every deluxe edition, and I just wish that Valiant would just nut up on this a bit. Is just do like a proper cover gallery of like the variants and all this shit. Some of these books just have so many, and sometimes you just get like a couple sketches of them, or you get a couple of them just put in the book itself. I just wish that like a book like that probably has like 30 variants. You could do an easy cover gallery that takes up just like 4 or 5 pages. You can put them small on there. They're still visible, but overall, it's a great book. You guys should read it. And it's also awesome that Valiant now gives reviewers collected editions to talk about because that's
here's
something
one of
that
my
you don't.
big questions.
Okay.
We spent when A&A was coming out, we spent a lot of time defending it and
Yeah.
asking people to give Rafer a chance. Does it hold up to what we had said about it when it was coming out?
Yes, the writing does. I'm afraid that if I was to go back and read like Renegades, like probably after I think like to me, like when I think about it, I like half of the issues of Renegades. Rafer's always had kind of a hard job to have to like follow like some pretty big footsteps at Valiant. A it still works. It's still really good, but I'm afraid that like Harbinger wouldn't be very good to read through again because I feel like half I would not like.
Gee, I can't imagine. No, okay. So now this one right here, I actually have the pre-order edition cover of the two Bloodshots fighting, which I thought that was really cool.
I have cover A, which it's not too shabby either.
I really like that cover A. Actually, that is such a badass cover. That's a really great cover A. I think that if that one had been a variant, I might have tried to get it. Like I don't buy variants anymore, but I might have tried to get it if that one was a variant. I like that cover a lot.
Is did Bodenheim do the pre-order edition one? Do you know?
It looks like Bodenheim, but I can't say with 100% certainty. I don't see a signature on it anywhere.
Yeah, the A cover is Kenneth Rocafort. I feel like I can't really think of a cover by Rocafort that he's done for Valiant that I haven't liked a lot. Same with Bodenheim. I think both of those guys are just doing some really great work on the book that makes you just want to pick it up. You know, like if you see on the books, like on the stands at a comic shop, like they're very appealing covers.
Um, so this issue really surprised me. We had been kind of speculating on who the target was going to be for Bloodshot now that he's in the future, and it was just some guy who
Just
is
some
nobody, right?
rando dude.
Yeah, and I thought that the struggle that Ray had with trying to convince himself to kill this guy for the benefit of his own family, while also realizing that if he did that, he would be taking that guy away from his family. So, yeah, I thought that that was a really interesting thing, and then also having uh future Bloodshot, 4002 Bloodshot, saying, because he's got all of Ray's memories from the nanites and being like, this isn't right. This never happened. Ray never had these memories. I thought that was really interesting, and it'll be cool to see how that part of it plays out with the next issue.
Yeah, I thought that part was interesting. Where he's like, I have no memory of this. I was actually kind of hoping there'd be like a real big fight between like both Bloodshots, where we see how much damage Ray can take, and then actually if like 4002 Bloodshot can really have his body damaged very much since he's just basically composed of nanites.
He's like a
But
cloud, yeah.
yeah, but you know, I kind of I think when I was done reading this, I felt like the book was a bit average for a Bloodshot book because, and not like
Really?
art, like it. Well, because here's my big problem with this book is that I've read half of it, starting with the beginning of this entire run, like all the stuff that doesn't involve Bloodshot. I mean, we've seen most all those panels before. They're just drawn by Miko Swain. And so I kind of felt like a little bit like, damn it, like I've read like half of this issue already. You know, like we've read it like 10 issues ago, and 5 issues ago when Punk Mambo starts communicating with Rhea from the other side. So I just thought like this was kind of like a rehash of a lot of stuff. The 4002 material was great. Um, the fact that it was just a random guy, it didn't have like some gigantic thing that it tied to, at least as far as we know, because we actually don't know. I mean, like, spoiler alert, you guys obviously who listen to us know we spoil everything. Bloodshot fucking caps this dude right in the head. I would assume he's toast, but I guess you never know in comics how things could happen. Who knows what happens to that guy, but like, it was kind of like a weird thing that it was just like a random guy that's going to eventually cost me. So whether or not like, that ends that threat for him or not, who knows? But I do think that, like we were saying before, like Bloodshot 4002 Bloodshot's like reaction all of it, I thought was just really cool. I like the character. And here's my whole thing now is that we have one issue left to wrap a bunch of shit up, you know, and I'm just like, how are they going to do it? Now I think Lemire can do it, because I think like if you look back at like what he's written previously for Valiant, what he's written everywhere else, he's a great writer. I think this one to me seems like a pretty daunting task, like how he's going to wrap this one up pretty good. But I'm really curious to see how it does end.
Where I'm at with it is I think that the way the next issue wraps up could make or break this whole series.
Oh yeah.
Um, I get where you're coming from. I remember I did read this issue a couple times, which I normally don't do, but the first time that I read it, I was definitely like, I've read this. Like, why is this happening again? But I think Jason put it really well in the live chat, saying that it felt gimmicky on the first read for him because of so many panels from previous issues. But when he read it again, he liked it because it tied up all the threads, and then he compared it to 12 Monkeys. And
And he does like 12 Monkeys a lot. If you follow him on
12
Twitter.
Monkeys is a great movie. That's a ridiculously
No, I
awesome
think he's
movie.
talking about the show. I think he watches the show.
Oh, I've never seen the show.
I hear it's good, according to Jason.
I might have to check it out. But I do think that, with the mislead in those early issues, I like the fact that it was kind of tied together by putting those panels into this issue. Yes, you can make the case that, we've already read this. They could have referenced that stuff quicker without laying it all out. But I think it makes sense to lay it out the way that it did. And then if Lemire sticks the landing in the next issue, it will be worth it, I think. But that's really the big question. This book, this book ends with Ray deciding to kill that guy. Right? He just blows his head off, saying that's the only way for him to get home. And also, we see the end of that scene with Magic and Punk Mambo um, and Jesse and all that, and they get fucking blown up, right? So is Magic still alive? Is Punk Mambo still alive? Like, what the fuck is even going on? The Bloodshot Squad, like, that there's a lot to tie up in this next issue, and honestly, like, this is probably my favorite issue of Bloodshot Salvation so far.
Really? Wow, that's shocking. Um, this will be. I think this is going to be a fun one to talk about when the series wraps up, because I do kind of wonder, like, is this going to show how Bloodshot gets recruited by Livewire, or does he fall under her control? Leading into like Harbinger Wars 2. Will we ever get that? Um, does Ray necessarily have to defeat Rampage? Because he doesn't even know Rampage. He doesn't even really know of him. This could all just be solved by Jesse and the Bloodshot Squad. One thing that I'm just like sitting there thinking about, and I'm like, I just hope that Jesse makes it. I hope Magic makes it, and I actually hope that Rampage makes it too, because um, if nothing else, Valiant just needs good villains, and he's a character that I think he finally exists properly within the confines of the Valiant universe. Previous to this series, we've only seen him in like one shots that have had like weird future implications, like Fall of Bloodshot, um, Commander Bloodshot from Divinity 3. So if nothing else, I hope they keep him around to be a foil that can show up from time to time again, especially since he seems to have like nanites and he's a kind of a badass dude. He's a guy who can match up properly with Bloodshot.
No,
But
I agree with you. Jason's agreeing with you that we need a rogues gallery that sticks around. Honestly, I would be okay if the Bloodshot Squad dies, if Magic dies, if Jesse dies, as long as Punk Mambo survives and Rampage survives, I'm happy.
I will say this: I would bet dollars to donuts that Punk Mambo lives, because that's Fred Pierce's favorite character at Valiant. But I don't know. Like, to me, I don't want to see like for one, I don't want to see Magic die, just because like no one dies in the Valiant universe except for like female characters. And I'm not trying to like. Well, I mean, think about like fucking Flamingo died and Kay died. Kay came back, but she did die, and it just seems like normally no one else really like bites it. That's like a heroic character, or at least a character on the good side. So I just don't want to see like that happen more.
Yeah, that's
And I want
fair.
and I want the Bloodshot Squad to stay around because they're badass.
Yeah,
Like
the
they're
Bloodshot Squad is cool.
I mean, like at least like Viet Man, he existed prior to Bloodshot Island, so I mean, they got to at least keep him around.
No, I definitely like I definitely like the Bloodshot Squad. My whole thing with Magic and Jesse surviving is that it really complicates what any writer can do when they come back to present day Bloodshot, assuming that Ray actually makes it back to the present from the future. And yeah, so I mean, we got to figure out, if Ray actually makes it back and how this series ends. But from
Well,
there, any other writer that writes Bloodshot is then automatically saddled with that baggage, or they have to explain it away in order to write a Bloodshot solo book without including, Jesse and Magic.
well, one thing they could do though, because Ray has had this ability before, is that he could take her nanites. I would assume. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the series ends up somehow with Ray taking back the nanites that are inside Jesse. That could be a possibility, unless there's something I've missed where she can't lose them. But and I think from there it'll be interesting to see. But maybe that's just like the dad in me who's like, don't kill the mom, don't kill the daughter. I don't know, but keep them around, man. Keep them around, Valiant.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Man, I don't know, man. It all comes down to how this next issue plays out. Really, that's what's going to determine how good of a series this was. It really does boil down to what happens in the next issue. Um, I- and I have no idea. I mean, we could make tons and tons of predictions, but see, and this is exactly why this is such a great issue to me. Like, yes, it did recycle panels and pages from previous issues, but I'm okay with that because of the way that it kind of ties things up. And the rest of the new content that was in this book just I mean, the shit hit the fan big time in a lot of ways. And there's so many threads to tie up. It's got me really excited for the next issue. And anytime a comic gets me this excited for the next issue and asking this many questions, I consider that a huge win. Like as a writer, when I'm writing something, I want to create questions. I want people to, read my book and not be able to stop thinking about, wow, what's going to happen with this next, and where's that thing going to go, and was this really what happened with that? You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that. I
definitely.
think that's like the biggest success that you can have as a writer, and I think that Lemire has really nailed that really well. And now he just, like I said before, he just has to stick the landing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to put a prediction out there for anything because like I think like this book could just go anywhere. And I honestly really think though, I mean, I guess one thing I would say is that I feel like there's a possibility that this book could end, that Rampage, whatever's going on with Rampage and Jesse, could get resolved without Ray. I think that is a possibility that could happen just because they haven't collided yet. Although in a weird way though, it would be kind of a bit anticlimactic to me if like Ray and Rampage didn't have a fight.
Oh yeah, that was Travis's question earlier. Do we think that they're actually going to fight? I would
Yeah,
honestly be a little bit disappointed if they don't. But if it's well executed and they don't fight, then fine, whatever. But hopefully, at the very least, even if they don't fight, Rampage sticks around so that another writer can pit them against each other in the future.
I mean, like to me, I just think like it kind of comes down to what I said earlier about like Bloodshot having like proper foes. Like this is a guy
Yeah.
that seems like he's just like his polar opposite, but he's got the same kind of abilities. And so to me, it's like, how cool would that fight be? You know, but and I would almost just say Bloodshot wins obviously because he's got more experience. You know, Rampage maybe doesn't have that experience because he's just been like some chained up weirdo.
And maybe that's
But
a good reason for them not to face now and for him to get some more experience under his belt and be more of a in the background kind of villain. You know what I mean? For a little while and take out some other people and then face Ray down the line. But
yeah.
who knows?
But
I mean,
again,
we'll
like
see.
it comes down to like how you just can't make like an honest prediction of this book because like it could just go anywhere. I mean, there's having a character who's 2,000 years in the future, roughly. I mean, how's he even get back? I mean, I guess Samedi has to send him back after he's finished his deed. But I don't know. I couldn't tell you a single thing I think that would happen with this.
He
That
did the deed,
that I
so
actually think would happen.
it seems logical that Baron Samedi would send him back because he did what he was sent to the future to do, and uh,
Yeah,
I
but don't
mean,
devils always kind of lie or like twist the truth a little bit in some
yeah,
way?
I was gonna say it's not like I could put it past Baron Samedi to have twisted his words in a way that he doesn't actually have to send Ray back, but I'm guessing he will, but honestly, it's not going to surprise me that much if I'm wrong.
I'll tell you what though, like thinking about like the dilemma that Ray has, where he saved his daughter's life and he couldn't kill a guy even though he knew what he was bargaining for, really makes me think that in Harbinger Wars 2, he's definitely not in control of himself. When he just stabs the random guy in the head with like no thought at all, just knifed him, it's got to be that like Livewire is controlling him
That
completely.
moment in Harbinger Wars 2, issue 2, when he asks, "Am I in control of myself?" I love that. And Livewire
Yeah.
doesn't even answer. Focus on the mission at hand.
Yeah. So what's your score on this one?
So to me, like I'm a little bit torn. I want to say 4.25, but I'm feeling a little bit higher, maybe even a 4.5. Like I said, this is probably my favorite issue of Bloodshot Salvation so far. I get the complaints as far as, recycling pages from previous issues. I understand that that's not the most appealing thing. But I think it was really well done. It it just worked for me. It really worked for me, and I'm I'm really excited to see, what comes next.
Man, I'm coming in a bit lower. I'm gonna probably go about 3.5 on this one. Just because like I just felt like too much retread on this one. Just this whole run is just so decompressed. But one thing I do want to say that neither of us brought up, and I mean maybe I don't know what your feelings were on this. I thought this was another like good looking issue by Doug Braithwaite.
See, I like Doug Braithwaite, but I think that he puts too many lines sometimes, like he over renders things. And that's been my issue with him for a long time. Like he's not a bad artist, he's really good, but that still is an issue for me.
Yeah, I like seeing him colored by Jordy though.
Yeah, I mean the colors will look really good. Um, Now the speculation here is that Ray's just going to die in the year 4002 because that's how he died in Book of Death.
Well, they be sure skipping out on a lot of those goofy, wacky pirate
And
adventures. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. There were a lot of other things that were supposed to happen before he died, and also in that he died of old age. He's not old enough here, you know.
yeah. So I mean, if I mean I don't believe any of that shit even lasts or even matters. But
Yeah, that
like
was Hoosier's question in the comments. Is Book of Death, is the fall of are the fall of books actually canon? And based on what we were directly told by a Valiant writer a little while back, that's not canon. Like they don't look at Book of Death and you know cater their stories to it. They're not thinking about what happened in Book of
I
Death when they're
I've
writing
always
it.
felt like when they defeated Master Dark at the end, they rewrote the book. Like what the book foretells is different. So to me, those book stories mean nothing, but they are good, and you can still enjoy them. You know, but yeah, I mean, like if Ray just died in the year 4002, I mean, it seems like at least from like the Book of Death storytelling, there's a lot of stuff that would happen. From what's going on in the current time to when he actually does die. So, but who knows? I don't think that's going to happen. It's Bloodshot. You got to keep that guy around.
Yeah, also I think he couldn't be in Harbinger Wars 2 if he got stuck in the future.
Yeah.
So he'll have to find a DeLorean, come back to the present. um, no, but like I said, I think it was a good book. Obviously, you didn't enjoy it as much as I did. And you know, the score you gave 3.5, I mean, that's still decent. It's not like it was a bad book. You're not,
It's still
um,
a good enough book. I'm not like bummed that I bought it. Although I kind of wish I didn't buy two different covers of it. But
uh,
Pre-order
I
editions
don't
are
know.
just, if my shop would just be consistent and always give me the pre-order editions, I wouldn't care. But for some reason on the other books, they're not giving them to me anymore, so I'm gonna have to like go out and get those.
Yeah, the shop that I go to isn't consistent on that stuff either. Even when I like am the one that specifically orders the pre-order covers, they don't always put them in my bag.
Yeah,
Um, but either way, I'm I'm really curious to see where Bloodshot Salvation goes next. Um, but yeah, I think that might be just about everything.
yeah. So next week we have Shadow Man, we have Ninja K, and I think we have Quantum and Woody next week too.
That's right. We get three books. Yeah, Ninja K number 9, Quantum and Woody number 8, and Shadow Man number 5. This is gonna, and we're also getting volume 1 of this new Shadow Man series, Fear of the Dark.
Ooh. Oh, good. I will have an opinion on that too if I need to.
If you need to.
No,
I'm
seriously,
really
like
excited for these books because Quantum and Woody number 8 is going to be the first Joe Eisma issue with Elliot Rahal. The two issues Elliot has put out so far writing Quantum and Woody have been phenomenal. So
awesome.
I'm really, really excited to see those two issues have kind of been their little own standalone thing. So I'm really excited to see him get into an arc and actually, kind of spread his wings with those characters a little bit. Um, Shadow Man, we're going further into the past and finding out about more previous Shadow Men. Really excited about that because the previous issue of that was really good. And then Ninja K number 9. I mean, honestly,
Best.
now that Killer Be Kill is done, Ninja K for me is the hands down best book on the shelves. I mean, to me, there's nothing that competes with it. So I'm absolutely stoked to have that one come out next week. So for me, these are three of the best books at Valiant right now, all coming out on the same week. And I'm happy, but I'm also kind of sad that they're not spread out a little bit more.
Yeah. Also, like this was episode 90, right?
This was episode 90.
So we're 10 away from number 100. So I'm gonna try and contact Valiant like maybe like a month or so and see if there's anything they can help us with as far as like see if there's anyone that can come on or giveaways or something like that for like episode 100 because we gotta do something special for it. Like crazy to think that like we're that close to doing 100 of these things. We've probably
Yeah.
already done 100 with all the ones that your computer ate. So I
Hey, you know
mean,
what? Yeah, I do want to apologize. I don't know what happened with the technical difficulties at the beginning of this episode. Honestly, I have no idea. I've never had that issue before with Google Hangouts,
there's a
so
glitch
I'm
in the
not really
matrix.
sure what
Man.
happened. What's that?
It's like a glitch in the matrix. It's cool.
Glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
YouTube doesn't want to be nice to us. They want to defeat our show and silence us. It's a conspiracy. No, I again, I really am glad that we're, to this point, we've got to 90 episodes. Hopefully we'll not only make it to 100, but well beyond.
Like a
Hopefully
hundred.
people continue joining us. We started doing the live episodes a while back now, and I'm still really enjoying doing these, having people have the ability to interact with us. I really appreciate, Dave comes on. We've had Bulldog on a couple times. Um, to chat with us in the live chat. Jason Falter has been really regular. Sean Hayes comes on a lot and interacts with us. Anthony Port is another one that jumps in and talks to us. Travis, obviously, he comes in and chats with us. We've had Nick, not only as a guest on the show, but he's come in and interacted with us in the live chat. I don't know if I already said Hoosier, but we always love when that guy's around. Probably gonna have to get him on another episode here in the near future. But yeah, I mean, it's it's just I really like doing these live shows. I really like people being able to watch live and interact with us. I'm glad we've got to 90, and like I said, hope we can continue far after. We'll have to figure out something huge to do for issue or episode 100. That's going to be awesome. But
How
yeah,
many how many of these live episodes do you think we've done? Like 20?
I'm not sure when we started doing the live episodes, and it would be really hard from, well, not really hard, but it would take me a little while to convince my computer to look up that information. It's
Yeah.
pretty
But I
slow.
know like on my end, like the live episodes have been a lot of fun. I think for one, like it was always kind of hard to listen to myself on the older ones that we did edit because I could still hear myself just doing things. I think when they're done live, I have to approach it a little bit differently, and I actually like how it turns out. It's fun that people interact with the show. I like that part a lot too because we didn't get that before. We didn't get like we rarely ever got someone who asked us anything. So the fact that people spend an hour of their Thursday nights with us is really awesome, and I know like we both appreciate that very much.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jason recommends that we do a special 2 hour Get Valiant versus Hoodoo TV explosive all out episode. And I don't know about this whole versus thing, but I am down with bringing Hoodoo and Get Valiant together again.
Yeah, we love those guys, man. They are the bee's knees.
So according
Also,
to this number right here, we have 27 videos. No, wait. 26 videos. And one of those might be a double. So I think 25 episodes we've done. Um, or maybe this is the 26th here. So 26 episodes, I would say, we've done live.
that's
Um,
pretty. Hey, one
yeah,
thing I was gonna say though, you need to get on Hoodoo sometime soon again, man.
I was actually just talking to Hoosier about that. So watch out. That may be coming soon. Um, but yeah, thanks again, everybody, for coming with us and hanging out. Really excited to for the future of Valiant Comics. Can't wait until we're discussing Bloodshot, set photos and trailers and all that stuff coming up. Yeah, it does sound like I'm going to be joining Hoosier on Hoodoo TV next week, so everybody go
Oh,
check
awesome.
out Hoodoo TV, WHODOO TV on YouTube. Um, great guy. I love Hoosier, and he runs a great show, and I'm excited
I'm
to
gonna
hang out with him.
I'm gonna be on a future episode also. That's why I was bringing it
Cool.
up.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us, interacting with us, and having a good time. We will sign off here. I am, of course, Eric Baumgard,
I'm Josh Rathbun.
and I hope that you all stay DMG Valiant.
Quantum and nudie.